Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining. Today we are going to be talking about our latest software update, Release 1 of 2020, and all the new features you have to look forward to. We will first take a look at what's included in the upgrade for our flagship product, Easy Reporter. We're going to start with some notes regarding additional fields you can now include in your reports. As you can see noted here, we have expanded the list of declustered payroll results tables that you can include, along with some country tables for Argentina, more info types for Malaysia, and some new fields from info types 25 and 21. And continuing here with the list of new info type fields, I'll give you a moment to glance through this list. Now let's move on to some enhanced functionality that's being added to the product. This first item shown here is the ability to schedule reports to run on a selected server group rather than just an individual server, to allow customers more control over how they balance the load on their servers. And this next enhancement is in regards to reporting on success factors fields. Hopefully you are already aware that if you are utilizing success factors and would like fields from those modules to be included in Easy Reporter, you can do so by using what we call our connector. Now, if that's new to you and something you would be interested in, be sure to follow up with us after this presentation. Meanwhile, here's the change we recently made on that topic. Till now, you could link the employees in payroll to the employees in success factors by either personal number, which is technical field PERNer, or the user ID as stored on InfoType 105. Now with Release 1 of 2020, another means of linking has been added, which is via the external person ID as stored on InfoType 709. And here's an enhancement I think a lot of you will be happy to see. You can now set up your Easy Reporter user roles in just one system and transport them throughout your landscape. Until now, you've had to separately maintain each system, and I know that has seemed a bit burdensome. Both user roles and menu roles can now be created and transported. Our next enhancement is regarding InfoType 760. We have made it possible for you to select a compensation plan under the column selection setting, allowing you to accurately report on employees where more than one record exists. And here's an interesting one. I'm not sure if the verbiage on the slide will really make sense to you, so let me see if I can break it down. Up until now, when pulling in the success factors data via our connector, like I mentioned earlier, the jumping off point would be the employees who exist in the payroll system. Then from there, go find the associated success factors data. If an employee happened to exist in success factors, like most likely in Employee Central, but for some reason did not exist on the payroll side, it wasn't possible to pull them into Easy Reporter. They would just not get included in the report at all. Now, however, you will be able to report on success factors data related to an employee in success factors who perhaps is not set up on the payroll side. That might seem like an odd scenario, but that's precisely why this is valuable. It allows users to audit for out-of-sync employees not properly set up in both places. There is some field configuration inside of Easy Reporter necessary to make this all work. So if and when you're interested in deploying this method, check out our customer care portal for the detailed instructions. Next up, we have some new fields that have been added into the miscellaneous fields folder. These fields will allow you to more closely audit the report creations, maintenance, and executions by the Easy Reporter users in your organization. As you can see in the screenshot, fields regarding the creation of variants, which are stored behind the scenes in Spinifex table GENTK031, and the execution of reports by using variants as stored in GENTK032 are now available. So on the next slide, I have a sample output showing using some of those fields in a report to give you a better idea. So here we have a simple report I threw together using the new fields from GENTK031. which gives me a list of reports and the variants that exist for each. The user ID for whomever created the variant is included, plus other details like is it a global or a user variant. And finally, we have this additional functionality in regards to dynamic column creations. If you have gone through our standard Easy Reporter training, then you know it is possible to configure a report so that columns are created what we call dynamically. For example, on the basic pay info type, an employee can have more than one wage type listed. Like, for example, wage type 1 for basic salary and then wage type 2 for an additional shift differential. Now, to include those on a report, you could just add one amount column from basic pay, and then you indicate that you want the report to just automatically generate an individual column for each wage type it finds. You also know that it is possible to tell a master data column to retrieve data based on a date column that's already on the report. So, for example, you might have hire date on the report for every employee, plus a field for annual salary, and you tell the report to populate the annual salary column as of each employee's hire date. Now that would work for my example of annual salary, but until this new release, you couldn't make it work for the dynamically generated wage type amount columns on basic pay. It was either or. You could either generate the columns dynamically or you could base them on a date column, but you couldn't do both. With this upgrade, however, you can now configure the basic pay amount column to be both dynamic as well as based on a date column on the report. So now let's move to our next product to discuss, which is Easy Clone. Our first change for Easy Clone is in regards to copying travel management data. From my experience, I don't believe this is a common request amongst our customers, but for those of you doing so, you will now have the ability to generate new numbers for all three: trip number, posting run, and document number when you execute the clone. And now we have a few changes all related to the copying of Employee Central data. Hopefully you are aware that a few releases ago, we enhanced Easy Clone to copy Employee Central data that is linked to employees in the payroll system. Some of the changes we have made with this release include, for one, the ability to clone Employee Central data for employees that are missing job relationships data. Previously, before this release, that would just simply cause an error. We are also sidestepping some errors with cloning that were related to metadata settings and changed some other settings which were previously grayed out and unchangeable by the user, so that now the end users can maintain those particular checkboxes. And last, we have added functionality that provides more control at the user level regarding how existing records are handled when a clone of the same Employee Central data is requested. Because cloning Employee Central data involves, quote unquote, the cloud, there is a slightly greater risk of issues occurring mid-clone, like connections timing out, for example. So it has been possible for the existing data to be deleted, then the cloning fail prior to the writing of the new data. If that happens, the existing records in the target Employee Central system are just gone. So to mitigate that risk, we have added a configuration option for our customers, giving them the ability to either allow the default behavior, which is to delete prior to copy, or conversely to not do so, allowing the existing records to still exist if the clone process gets interrupted. And of course, I'm saving the best for last. We're excited to announce that we're launching a new solution that's catered for organizations who are looking to move to Employee Central payroll.
This year, more and more SAP on-premise payroll customers are stepping up and making their move to SAP's Employee Central Payroll. This, however, can be risky and can take a considerable amount of time and effort to implement completely and without a hitch. It takes 3 to 6 months and multiple resources from HR, payroll, security, and IT to complete the migration process. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you can accelerate this effort and cut down the time and cost spent by over 90%? This is why we've created Easy Migration, an easy-to-use lift and shift solution that helps organizations like yours to easily identify and migrate your custom configurations and data to Employee Central Payroll and take advantage of built-in payroll testing and reporting functions that can help you validate your payroll execution during and after your migration. SpinifexIT's Easy Migration can help you speed up your migration and implementation process significantly by securely migrating your configuration and employee data, conducting parallel testing validation to ensure payroll accuracy, and reducing the risk of manual payroll migration process errors while saving you hundreds of hours. Talk to us today to discover how you can optimize your migration to Employee Central Payroll. Cut down your implementation time to a fraction with SpinifexIT's Easy Migration solution.
We've developed Easy Migration that helps you lift up your payroll-related configuration from your current on-premise system and then drop it into your new ECP system. The aim of Easy Migration is to de-risk and accelerate your ECP implementation by also enabling you to validate payroll executions with some built-in test reports. We have been in communication with many SAP implementation partner companies, making them aware of our new tool. So if you are interested to learn more about Easy Migration, especially if migrating to Employee Central Payroll is in your roadmap fairly soon, reach out to us and we'll connect with your implementation partner to make it happen. Our next product to discuss is Easy Balance. We do have an Easy Balance product for both the US and Canada, and for this particular release, it's the US version that is seeing some enhancement. Even if you aren't a quote-unquote tax person, you are likely aware that the federal government issued a new W-4 form for this year. As part of that, new fields were made available, which required SAP to update their software accordingly. W-4 information for employees is saved on InfoType 210 in an SAP payroll system. So as part of the year-end 2019 support packs, SAP included the updated fields for InfoType 210. We then needed to tag along after that change and add those same fields into our data field folder for InfoType 210. With release 1 of 2020, those fields are being included. You actually would see them in our standard Easy Reporter product now. For Easy Balance, the impact was that we have some employee communication documents as part of that tool, and those same field changes needed to flow into the relevant Easy Balance employee letters. So what you will see is for 3 different letters shown here on the screen, there are now 3 new versions, all tagged with the description 2020 added into their titles. Now for our final product to discuss, we're going to look at Easy Help Desk. The first change has to do with our integration into the SAP Payroll Control Center. If you are aware of how the Payroll Control Center works, then you know that you can run payrolls in simulation mode and then actually report on those simulated results, which is really nice. You may or may not have heard that Spinifex has our own add-on to the SAP version of the Payroll Control Center, which allows all the reporting that occurs in the PCC to be converted from standard ABAP reports into Easy Reporter reports. It's actually really neat functionality. So if you want to know more about that, definitely reach out to us and we can provide a full demo of our Payroll Control Center integration for you. Now the impact to Easy Help Desk is this. If you implement the Payroll Control Center, including our integration, and you are using Easy Help Desk as well, then with this new version, a couple of Easy Reporter wage type reports based on the simulated data become available in Easy Help Desk. It just adds a little more robustness to your ability to analyze individual employee scenarios. And finally, if we have anyone from Australia on the line today, Easy Help Desk has been updated to include the most recent version of the Employment Separation Certificate. Now that does bring me to the end of today's discussion. I hope this information has proven beneficial and will be helpful as you implement our latest release. My contact information is shown here on the slide. Feel free to reach out if you have any follow-up questions. Thanks for joining and have a great rest of your day.